I don't have to.
But we're going to start recording. Yeah.
1 second, recording. Okay.
Rabbi,
Any relatives are in the army? Felicia?
I don't know if she's there.
Felicia is here, yeah. Yeah, Rabbi, yeah, I've got a son-in-law who's in the army.
You've got son-in-law?
Yeah, he's been called up.
No. Hashem shall protect all of them to do whatever they have to do to finish off with these murderers.
Amen.
Amen, amen.
Can you believe it? I saw in the news that in the United Nations,
Yeah, the Secretary General, Guterres, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, he said,
yeah,
how can you blame the Palestinians?
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And here in South Africa, the Schwarz are demanding that all Israeli products be taken off the shelves.
You think,
Yeah.
you think they can carry that out?
Well, I saw that Chief Rabbi had a very, very strong statement.
Yeah.
To cut out the government from the prayer to from the prayer to for the republic.
Yes, yes.
Quite bold.
He did it once before also, Rabbi, when Zuma was taken to court and there's all that business with the state capture and everything. He said then also that one should stop governing for the government.
But afterwards, they never stopped.
I don't know. How should we stop?
Yeah. Okay. Let it be.
Yeah.
But there is no, on the day-to-day, any experience of anti-Semitism?
I haven't encountered anything, but then I keep to myself, so I don't know. But I think things have been quiet.
When is the election in South Africa?
Next year sometime. I'm not sure the date. I don't know if they have a date yet.
Okay. What should do? So we are going to do our share in learning Pirkei Avot, chapter 5, Mishnah either 15 or 18, depends on which print you have, and should be dedicated for the first of all, the speedy recovery of the injured, and for those that were kidnapped, that they should be
Released.
coming back all well. Who knows what these animals can do to them? I don't know if you just saw or heard the way they, even animals don't like this.
No, the barbarians.
Yeah, it's monsters. Animals would never do that. Animals don't do these type of things. It's horrendous. It's unspeakable what they did.
They virtually shechted.
Yeah.
Shechted children. Anyhow, look, what can we do? We can only, as I say, outcry to God to be the end of the stories. Okay, so the Mishnah said, as I say, either 18 or 15, ארבע מידות יושבים לפני חכמים. Remember, we are having a series of Mishnayot talking about certain things, certain behaviors, different behaviors. Here, we're talking about there are 4 types. יושבים לפני חכמים, among those who sit before Torah scholars. So, although that we had before a Mishnah already dealing with the pupils, but before we were talking about the nature people that have certain qualities, like talking about people can remember or less, it's our abilities, natural abilities. Here, we are talking about something different about the students, different students, or different types of students, students. And again, we have, like we saw, there are 2 extremes, one bad, negative, one very positive, and then in between. And now let's see what the Mishnah says. A spog, a sponge. Afterwards, we'll discuss what he's talking about. We're talking about a student, a scholar, that he can be characterized as a sponge. Then we've got a mashpech, a funnel, משמרת, a strainer, and the last one, nafa. Nafa is a sieve. Now the Mishnah comes to explain what they mean. The sponge ספוג שהוא סופג את הכל. It sponges, takes up everything. What does it mean? And we see, although the Mishnah is talking about students, but the same can apply to teachers. Some of them want to apply the same characteristic to teachers. So the sponge, he takes everything in. He absorbs everything. He listens to the shiur or to the lesson, and he takes it as it is, absorbs it, but is not able to differentiate or to see what is the main thing, the main point, what is trivial, and what is valid. He can't select. He doesn't know to select. He takes it as it is, which fine, but obviously he also takes things which are nuisance. or nonsense. And the same can be a teacher. The teacher is teaching a lesson without making a distinction between what is important, what is not important, what is true, what is not true. He just give everything a big takes in everything or gives out everything. So it has got some value because at least something comes in, but obviously this is not what we expect. A teacher or a student, we must have able to make a distinction and to select the funnel. A funnel, like they say, the funnel has got like a wide, you pour in and it comes out again without any making, as it came in, it comes out, which means he can't forget anything that he learned, but not because we learned before. That can be a person that is forgetting, is forgetful. He cannot, his memory is not good. Here, the reason for not remembering, because he doesn't really relate any importance to what he learns. So therefore, he forgets. Then we have the third one. So we said the funnel takes in at this end and lets out at that. You know, it goes in, it goes out. The strainer is the wealth in this context. Why? What? משמרת, מוציאה את היין וקולטת את השמרים. The strainer lets the wine through and retains the lees. In other words, you take the wine with all, it is mixed, all kind of things there. It's got what's called
sediment.
what there? The shmarim.
Sediment.
Can't hear. What's the shmarim?
The sediment.
Sentiment. Okay. So it tries to strain the wine from the sediment. It lets the wine out, and it remains with the shmarim, with the nonsense. Some can be in the shiur. The student here, let's say sometimes the teacher wants to make a joke to try and to keep the pupils awake. He gives them a story, make a joke. But obviously, this is not what he wants to teach. He wants to cause them to take interest and to keep them awake. But what happened with the student? He just remained the nonsense which came. So you can say And there is a little bit, can be a little bit of benefit that the student will remember the stories. But obviously, the main thing which a teacher or which the book, whatever he learns, means to give a substance to the knowledge or whatever, it doesn't take it in at all. Anafa, the sieve, which actually seems to be what a good student is supposed to be. You got flour with all things mixed there. So you strain with a sieve and you let what do you call it? He lets the flour dust through and remains with a fine flour. This is what you would expect to have a good student, that he should be able to make a distinction and to keep in mind, to learn, to keep in mind,
Evelyn and Carly Cobb, WhatsApp audio.
to keep in mind the main thing, and to let out what is not really important. So as I said, it can be a student, can be a fault of a teacher. The teacher presents a lesson like a sponge, everything in it, without any making any pointing out the important point, and the student becomes very, very confused, and you only be able to get some out from the students if you ask him distinct question on the point, but otherwise the whole thing is a mix-up. The same can be where the teacher, the funnel, he just let it out, and there is nothing remains there. The strainer, this is now here interesting that there are also two different approaches. Some want to say that the strainer is good because he can with a strainer he can see what is to strain. We said to strain is a verb, to strain, and just remain, and the teacher same. He can give what is important, and he only will explain or devote, dedicate about the main point, which is can be the positive. Now, what we said before about the sieve, which I mean, before I said this is the positive because a person by sifting the flour, he remains with a good the solid retain the fine flour, which then we'll say this is obviously the positive. This is what we see the ideal student. However, others want to say that this is in a negative thing. That the person keeps, the teacher keeps the important point for himself and teaches just the flour, the flour dust he lets out to the student, he remains with the good flour, the fine flour. Okay, that they can look at it as you want, but I think that the message is important. The main thing the Mishnah want to tell you, if you are studying something, if you are, and this is something, nothing to do what you are being endowed by, if you have a memory or not, you can actually work out a system, how to use your brain in order to use it in a positive way, that you only concentrate in what is important and to let out, which is not important, to let it out completely, or otherwise you can mess up, which you just concentrate on the jokes or whatever, the trivial things, and you lose the point. But I want to quote to you something. Yeah, something that you might find it interesting. Rabbi, what's her name? Bunim, ethics from Sinai, it tries to apply it not just to general education, but to children and parents. And I want to quote it to you and read to you. Everyone sits before the first two important teachers in his life, his father and mother. Hence, the metaphors in our Mishnah can apply to attitude towards the values and traditions of parents. Some, like a sponge, absorb and retain everything from their parents, attitudes, values, mannerism. In adulthood, such people will generally, unwittingly, be carbon copies of parents, down to the last mannerism and quirk of thought. Unfortunately, they cannot distinguish between the important and the trivial, which can be mercifully relegated to obvious with the passage of time. Like rubber stamps, they cannot choose what they will continue out of their past. They must repeat everything. This is the sponge. Other children are like a funnel to their parents. However, good or experienced their parents were, whatever was sound and valuable in the parents, they retain nothing. With corn, they threw out the coal stove, the icebox, exposed plumbing, old clothing. With the same disdain, they cast away the Shabbat, kashrut, and ritual observance of family purity. Now it's throwing away very important Jewish values. They not interested. He continues, as the sponge must retain, recreate, repeat things because they are old-fashioned. What was good enough for grandfather is good enough for me. So must be the funnel reject things because they are old-fashioned. He will be modern and up-to-date in everything, at all costs, no matter how shallow and hollow modernity for its own meaningless sake can be. Then there are the strainer children, who adopt only the unimportant things from the parental home. On Hanukkah, they may not light candles, but will eat latkes and play a rousing game of cards. On Purim, they never miss the Omentaschen. On Shavuot, the blintzes. For Pesach, they see no need to change the dishes, but they do love matzah with their meals. Shabbat is observed in, what do you call it, Merchaot,
Inverted commas.
yeah, with gefilte fish and chicken soup on Friday night. Religiously, this is for them is Shabbat or Purim and so on. This is the strainer. They discard the eternal verities of Jewish living, the vessels of observance that contain and convey our faith, and they retain the frills. Fortunately, there remain the sieve children. It's talking about the positive children, sieve children, able to sieve the past, the entire complex of custom and observance in which our faith lives and thrives is retained and maintained. In these matters, we continue to follow in the footsteps of our fathers and mothers on their pathway to divinity. But in details of the material side of life, such as style of dress, conveniences, technological advances in modern life, there we may break with the past. So interesting. He tries to apply very much to what our modern time, how parents and children, especially talking about America scenery, but I'm sure that we can see it here in Israel as well. He continued to say, Midrash Shmuel points out too that our Mishnah simply gives the four metaphors but makes no explicit judgment on which are good and which not. We may therefore assume that all four types are of value. So, because up to now we were talking adopt a way to say that there is some which positive, some negative. We want to, the Midrash Shmuel tries to find that there is all of them has got value. The sponge is obviously of worth. Through history stretching over millennia, is the important cemented citron that will not lose a drop. A therefore neglected item, neglected item may suddenly become significant in clarifying some part of our tradition. Whatever unimportant or trivial material maybe in such a mind, all important knowledge is also there. So everything will be still there. The funnel too is useful. A funnel is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom to help transfer liquids from large containers to smaller ones. In Jewish scholarship, there is an analogous need for popularizers, authors, and speakers who can funnel the Torah wisdom of past and present, gather it from a broad range of thought and present it understandably and attractively to Jewry at large. By definition, the sponge simply absorbs and retains. This type of scholar will not readily pass on to the others the fruits of his knowledge, studies, and insight. So the funnel type is needed.
Rav, we've only got 2 minutes. And Rav, I just have to mention, I forgot to mention that Sam and Bev, they send their apologies. They couldn't make it, but they opened it so we could record. So we're very grateful.
Okay, thank you.
But we've only got like 2 minutes left.
Yeah. I think that quickly, similarly, the strainer that holds back the sediment and lees and lets the wine through may denote the popularizer who by written or spoken word brings his fellow men the pure wine of our heritage. He does more than the funnel. He holds back, leaves out elements which would strike today's reader of listener as lees and sediment. Anyhow, this is the approach. So I think that the message is quite clear that you have to get what is important to be able to distinguish and to be able to go up with this and not to absorb or put attention to the trivial and so on, and you lose the main point. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rav. Thank you.
Okay.
Hero.
Have a good night, a good Shabbos. We'll hear
Shabbos.
good news.
Yeah, please God, is your phone fixed?
Sorry?
Is your phone fixed?
I didn't
Thank
say-
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All the best.
Good night.
Thank you.
Shabbat.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rav.
you.